Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Minnesota.
In the 3 ballparks in Minnesota and the 2 here in Toronto, the Toronto Blue Jays have never swept the Minnesota Twins in a 4-game series. The Twins are hoping to avoid that fate here tonight. The DirecTV wildcard standing showing you that the Twins are in danger of falling back to the 500 mark for the first time since early May. And we welcome you to the Rogers Center in Toronto. Dick Bramer along with Jack Morris in defeat. Some signs of encouragement for the Twins lineup, finally producing some runs last night.
Yeah, even though it wasn't a winning effort, the Twins did score some runs for the first time in a while and looked like maybe their offense was going to start getting on track. And Sano was able to fist one there. Then Plouffe shoots the ball to right field, plating 2 more Twins runners. That was a good at-bat. You see Joe Mauer actually driving the ball to left field instead of a little flare to left field, and then Sano really jumped all over that. It's one thing that we've been waiting for Miguel Sano to do is drive the ball.
Well, the season series in recent years has been very lopsided in Toronto's favor, both in terms of wins and home runs hit, and the Blue Jays are at it again in this series.
Well, they seem to swing the bats exceptionally well. Right now, they've got it going. They're taking their hacks. These guys swing for the fences almost every opportunity. They also are patient at times, and, you know, it's a great offense. You're going to have to pitch the ball well in order to get them out.
And according to tonight's Twins starter, the most dangerous Blue Jay is one of the newest Blue Jays.
Donaldson's a guy who makes adjustments really well, and I think maybe, I've probably faced him 8 to 10 times, and I think I've only, caught him looking strike 3 one time. So you just got to move the ball around. He's up there to swing, but that's kind of the funny thing about this lineup. They all swing a bat, and really can elevate the ball well, but they all are really patient at certain times, and I think that's what makes this lineup a little unique. Is they'll take their walks if you're not going to throw them strikes. So you got to move the ball around the zone. And you got to get ahead of them because that's really the only time that they're going to expand the zone is if you're ahead of them and you force their hand into swinging.
It seems like Kyle Gibson's got a pretty good game plan. He knows how and what to do against the Jays.
In August, every game is important, particularly when you're playing against another team vying for a wild card playoff spot. Final game this year between Toronto and Minnesota coming up. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by Bud Light. Stay in the game and drink responsibly. Another beautiful day in Toronto. The roof's been open all day long. The Blue Jays taking the field, hoping to continue their run. They are the hottest team in the American League right now. The Twins have fallen victim to a really good team playing good baseball right now. Paul Molitor hoping his team can break a 4-game losing streak. It's kind of been a stretch of games since the All-Star break where there have been a lot of little losing streaks like the one they're on now. And Twins hope to end it here tonight. The Menards batting order has Brian Dozier leading off, and Joe Mauer batting second. Torrey Hunter, Miguel Sano, Trevor Plouffe, Aaron Hicks, Eddie Rosario, Kurt Suzuki, and Eduardo Escobar.
Twins will be facing left-hander Mark Buehrle. He's a veteran that knows how to pitch. He works very, very quickly, and he's a pro's pro, quite honestly. Mark has done extremely well in his career against the Twins, and he's making his 22nd start. Very good ERA, third best ERA in his entire career, and it's been a long one. So Twins are going to have to try to be patient and go the other way because he will pitch outside a lot.
Brian Dozier 3 for 7 against Buehrle, and he takes the first pitch just off the outside corner, ball 1. Buehrle will work quickly, you know that. And the Twins hope to bunch some things together against him as they did at Target Field in late May. Twins got 5 hits in the first 6 at bats, scored 4 runs in the first inning, but then Buehrle really tied up the Twins after that. There's a strike 2 and 1, and ended up pitching a complete game and getting the win after the 4-run first.
He's been an extremely durable pitcher, and I attribute it to the fact that he stays in very good shape, but he's not a max effort guy. He's always been one of those guys, kind of like Greg Maddux to a degree, that just knows how to miss bats. He's got a great feel for adding, subtracting velocity.
Pop up left side, and Donaldson, the third baseman, with the catch. Dozier retired one down. Northland Ford defense for the Blue Jays. I think they've gotten a little bit better in the outfield with Ben Revere taking over now in left. Not much of an arm, but of course great speed. Kevin Pillar in center, Jose Bautista in right. Donaldson, Tulowitzki, the left side of the infield. Goins and Smoke today on the right side with Deanna Navarro behind the plate. Mauer takes strike 1. Joe hitting a little over 200 in 63 at bats against Buehrle. In his career, he's always been really good against lefties, but not this lefty.
Well, again, it's because Mark Buehrle can add a little on his breaking ball and his fastball, take a little off. He never seems to hit the part of the plate.
Roll to the right side. This turf will eat up a lot of ground balls, something Kyle Gibson might be able to use to his benefit. 2 down.
Some Mark Buehrle video here against the Minnesota Twins. You can see that remarkable record, 29 wins against one ball club. He's been good, and it's not just this ball club.
29 and 19 his career mark against the Twins. 2 down quickly, and here's Torrey Hunter. Fouled away. Hunter got the day off yesterday. Has 97 at bats against Mark Buehrle. On a weak ground ball to short. Tulowitzki fires on the run, and Buehrle picks up right where he left off in late May at Target Field. things off for the Blue Jays as they hope to sweep the Twins in a 4-game series for the first time. The Menards batting order: Tulowitzki, followed by Josh Donaldson, then Jose Bautista, Edwin Encarnacion, Deoner Navarro, Justin Smoke, Kevin Pillar, Ryan Goins, and Ben Revere.
And they're going to be facing right-hander Kyle Gibson. Kyle's making his 22nd start of the year. He went 7 innings in his last outing against the Mariners, and that was a game in which he received no decision, but the Twins came from behind to win it. And he's got a pretty good game plan. He understands that he's got to throw the ball over the plate early in the game, early in the counts, because these guys are pretty good when they're ahead in the count.
Tyler Duffy learned that lesson last night. And Gibson shaves the outside corner, strike 1. 2 prior starts against Toronto, both in Minnesota. The one earlier this year that Jack spoke of gave up just a home run to Kevin Pillar, although he only had 1-2-3 inning in that ball game, 1-1. Tulowitzki, 8 for 28, couple of home runs since being acquired from the Rockies.
Twins pitched him very well last night. It was predominantly fastballs.
Chopper up the line, foul. That looked like it might almost spin back across the line. 1-2.
He was sitting on a lot of breaking balls, it appeared, especially with 2 strikes. He was not giving up his game plan, and the Twins froze him a few times with fastballs.
After the game, the Twins fly to Cleveland. After the game, Toronto flies to New York. Big series this weekend between the top 2 teams in the East. And another chopper foul.
Good location on his fastball there. That ball had some sink. Tulowitzki could only top the ball. Twins playing him pretty much straight away in the infield and the outfield.
Gibson looking off into the distance beyond the Toronto dugout. Now he's ready. 1-2. Struck him out. Gibson
pulled the string
with the off-speed pitch, gets a strikeout, 1 down.
Nice changeup here down in the zone. Tulowitzki way out in front.
Northland Ford defense for the Twins: Rosario, Hicks, and Hunter in the outfield. Fluke, Escobar, Dozier, and Mauer in the infield, and Kurt Suzuki back behind the plate. Here's Josh Donaldson. He's homered in all 3 of the games, and he takes down an away ball 1.
Well, this defense is pretty much the defense I think Paul's going to stick with the remainder of the year. He does switch around the lineup occasionally, and it is different again a little bit tonight, but the same guys.
Check swing and a strike, 1-1. Probably a coincidence, but right after the All-Star break, Gibson uncharacteristically had a couple of rough starts against the Angels, against the Yankees, and a much better start his last time out against Seattle. And another half swing. Donaldson behind in the count now, 1-2.
Kyle's got the very good arm angle today. He's throwing over on top a little bit more. The ball's down in the zone. He's getting that good sink and run. And if he can stay there, get ahead in the count the way he has these first 2 hitters, could be a fun night.
Chopped foul. Gibson on the year, 8-8 ERA, as you saw, 3.37, trying to pull his career mark up to 500 at 24-24. Another 1-2 to Donaldson, and he missed inside.
Even that pitch had a very good run to it. He started it on the corner and ran it off the plate. Donaldson is so good at being patient. A lot of hitters will swing at that pitch, and there's not much they can do with it because they're going to end up swinging over the top of it.
And now full count with Bautista on deck. Another lesson that the Twins, they didn't learn it, they relearned it last night. You cannot walk these guys.
Well, they don't, especially Donaldson, and Kyle had not acknowledged that he doesn't swing out of the zone very often.
3-2. And he lost him. A 1-out walk. Went into the break with a 4-game winning streak and averaged over 7 innings per start. But then after the break, again, coincidence or not, a couple of rough ones.
A little bit better his last outing against the Mariners, but yeah, he had a couple short outings. His first 2 out of the break. Neil Allen, the pitching coach, is let's say he's had better days with his rotation, and he's hoping that Kyle can maybe lead those guys out of it.
Well, he forgot about Donaldson, and he steals second easily. Going on the first pitch, something that teams haven't done much of against Gibson. He usually does a pretty good job of holding runners, but 4th steal in 5 tries with Gibson on the mound.
Yeah, he got a great jump. Suzuki elevated the ball. You can see just what a good jump Donaldson got. He's not a guy to steal a lot of bases, but he's learning the art of when to go.
4 for 4 now in stolen bases, and the count 1-0 to Bautista. Chopped foul. Everything that has been contacted in terms of Gibson's delivery has been chopped right into the ground. They've all been foul balls, but
yeah, the walk and now a stolen base, and all of a sudden the Jays are putting pressure on the Twins again, and that's something they just continue to do. Good teams have that ability to put the pressure on the pitcher
through one means or another.
Right. Kyle was in command. He got to Lewitsky on a strikeout. He got ahead of Donaldson, ended up walking him. Then on the first pitch, he steals second. You've got Bautista and Encarnacion coming up. So you're never comfortable.
1-2 to Bautista. Doesn't strike out as much as you'd like. 66 of them and 358 at bats. That landed 2 feet in front of the plate. 2-2. Last night, Twins gave up a 2-run home run, a 3-run home run, and a 4-run home run to account for all 9 Toronto runs. Three and 2 to Bautista.
Well, Kyle not giving in. He hasn't thrown that ball elevated. He's kept everything down. And he's trying to tempt the hitter into swinging out of the zone.
Encarnacion, the next batter. High fly, center field. Kicks back. 2 away. Tagging from second. Going to third is Donaldson. And that'll bring up Encarnacion with 2 away. One start last year and another start earlier this year, and he's against this lineup a 0.66 ERA. The Twins will take that.
Yeah, that's one of the best ERAs against this Jays lineup over the last 2 years. And Kyle needs an out to get out of this and get on a roll himself.
Encarnacion is 0 for 5 with a strikeout against Gibson. They're going to appeal at second base with Dozier standing on the bag, and first base umpire Tim Timmons said he did not leave too early. Again, with the rotation, second base umpire Tim Welke going out to follow the catch in the outfield. Tim Timmons keeping an eye on the second base bag. Twins with a pull shift in the infield with a runner at third and 2 down. Swing and a miss. This will be the 20th pitch of the first inning. mentioned, as well as Gibson pitched against Toronto at Target Field, he had only one 1-2-3 inning. Blue Jays got hits. Gibson had to spend a good part of the night pitching from the stretch. Inside 1-1.
You can see the catch and the tag. It wasn't even close. Apparently the Twins dugout saw something different, but you never know. If you can ask, you might as well try it.
Dug out nicely by Suzuki, and it's 2-1. 21 pitches, only 11 strikes for Gibson. He's walked one man. He's had another 3-ball count. Walks typically not an issue for Gibson. He, in his 2015 debut, walked 5 men in Detroit, walked 4 in Kansas City in early July, but usually 1, maybe 2 a game. A fair ball by inches, and the Blue Jays will get the first run. Encarnacion digs for second. Rosario's throw. Not in time. It's a double. Just out of the reach of Plouffe and just tucked it inside the baseline.
Location of the pitch. It's a sinker, and it's down in the zone. It does kind of center cut the plate, but down. And Encarnacion had seen enough of them that he made the adjustment. And does a good job of scrambling down to second base, too, to put himself in scoring position.
1-out walk and the stolen base lead to a run. On a 2-out hit by Encarnacion, and now Deoner Navarro.
Navarro got a double and an RBI in game 2 of this series.
One and 0. Twins got 2 innings from their starter last night. They're counting on Gibson to pitch some innings here tonight. Effective innings, they hope. Outside corner, I beg your pardon. 1-1.
Yeah, it's not like Kyle's really been struggling with location either. He's throwing the ball where he wants to, but the pitch count already at 24, so kind of a high pitch count first inning.
This is the inside corner. 2-1. Gibson said it. Pitch effectively against this lineup, you have to get ahead on the count, and he's not done that. Now it's 2-1 to Navarro. To center and deep. Hicks going back, and he's there to make the catch. The ball's hit in the air. Not one ground ball, as it turns out, in the first inning. The Jays lead 1-0.
This inning to start the second. As we welcome you back, we have a Sanford Health injury report on another center fielder, Byron Buxton, and some good news for Twins fans. He is expected to start his rehab assignment tomorrow with AAA Rochester. He's expected to DH for the Red Wings just to get him back in the swing of things for their game down in Charlotte. Now, he hasn't played since June 24th. Remember, he sprained that left thumb. But the Twins are hoping he can shake off any rust that he might have and get ready to hopefully help this team again someday in the near future.
All right, thank you, Jamie. Jose Bautista out in right center field for Miguel Sano. One strike. And Sano pops it up to left field. Ben Revere coming in. One down.
Well, again, Mark Burley doing a great job of missing the good part of the plate. He's been able to get inside on right-handers. Pitches in and out, up and down, changes speeds, and just avoids the good part of the bat.
Mentioned the Twins got 5 hits in their first 6 at bats against Burley back on May 29th. And then he faced the minimum after that. There was an error. He picked Danny Santana off. There was a base hit. Torrey Hunter hit into a double play. He was masterful. And so far tonight, 4 up, 4 down.
Well, he's always been a fast worker, and one of the reasons he's such a fast worker is he never shakes his catcher. His theory, and I've talked to him about it, his theory is I'm more concerned about location than I am about selection. And he figures that a catcher should know the lineup and understand what a hitter's trying to do. So whatever sign he gives him, he wants to throw it in a good spot. Throw a changeup here.
That's behind third, bobbled by Donaldson. Comes up firing, and he got 2 down. Donaldson almost was playing like a goaltender there. He just wanted to knock the ball down first. Kept it within range and came up firing.
Well, Tom Kelly always preached, don't panic, don't panic. And he was able to knock the ball down here and realize that he still had time, picks the ball up, and then a strong throw across the diamond gets Trevor Plouffe.
Aaron Hicks with 2 down in the second. Right off the end of the bat, and it spins its way to first. And if anything, a quicker second inning than first for Mark Burley. It's now time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag NorthDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile.
Pretty good. Was that a strike? Must have been a ground ball.
1-0 Toronto. Justin Smoke will lead things off in the second, then Kevin Pillar and Ryan Goins.
I think it's understood by the coaching staff over on the Jays side that Justin Smoak is their best option defensively at first base. Now he tried Chris Colabello and Edwin Encarnacion in this series.
A couple of times in this 4-game series, they've had Colabello out here early working on his footwork, his backhand scoops at first. 1 strike, and the Twins go into the pull shift for Smoak. And now a ball. Didn't see Gibson attack like he normally does when he's effective in terms of strike throwing. 28 pitches, 15 strikes so far for Gibson. And missing inside 2-1.
Well, this lineup will make you really focus and try to be a little bit fine sometimes, and that was a concern of mine about Kyle, is that when he comes out and really attacks the zone, he usually has good movement and doesn't try to do too much. And I understand his reasoning. You watch and have seen what the Jays have done with their bats, especially with the long ball. It makes you want to think a little bit before you throw a baseball.
2-2 to Smoak. Another 3-ball count. Third 3-ball count for Gibson. Smoak his 6th batter face. Pilar on deck. Might have swung a ball 4, cracked his bat. Plouffe comes up over to Mauer, 1 away. And before Pilar's at bat, tonight's broadcast of Twins baseball is being broadcast on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces serving around the world on land and on ships at sea. We welcome you wherever you might be watching tonight, our expanded version of Twins territory, literally around the globe.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
1 down, now Kevin Pillar. Prior to the run the Blue Jays got in the first inning tonight, Pilar the only run the Blue Jays have ever scored against Kyle Gibson, a home run in late May at Target Field. And that hit Gibson flush on the leg. 2 down. The ball stopped at the point of contact, and Gibson was able to recover. He just wants the ball, and he says he's fine.
This happens to you too much as a pitcher. You start realizing that you got to come in and get the guy to be a little less comfortable. I know it sounds crazy, but as a pitcher, you know that when the ball's over the middle of the plate, there's a good likelihood it's going to come right back up the middle. That when you pitch away, it goes away. When you pitch in, it stays on the left side.
Strike 1 to Goins.
Apparently, it had no effect on Kyle. He was able to shake it off.
Back of the calf, maybe. Bauer with a nice pickup, and he'll go to the bag. Gibson gets 3 quick outs, all on the ground in a 1-2-3 second inning. link to what's next by NorthlandFord.com and your local Northland Ford dealer. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here. Eddie Rosario leads off the third for the Twins, looking for their first base runner against Mark Burley. Down and away, ball one. Rosario, one of two left-handed batters in the Twins lineup. Bauer the other. And Rosario takes a strike. One and one. Two and one. Rosario in his rookie season hitting .268 against lefties, .280 against righties. And 3-1.
Taking a good look here in this first plate appearance against Burley.
3-2. Rosario's drawn just 10 walks and 257 at bats. Right at the shortstop, Tulowitzki. 7 up, 7 down so far for Burley, and that'll bring up Kurt Suzuki. You can follow live Twins baseball every day with MLB.com at-bat on your smartphone or tablet. Stay connected to the Twins all season with MLB.tv game of the day, in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, and more. You can browse the app's new features, including StatCast tracking videos and bilingual access for Spanish-speaking fans. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball. And now strike one to Kurt Suzuki.
Mark Burley can do what Marco Estrada did in Game 2 of this series. He went through the Twins lineup in order. He's only 2 outs away. Just rarely throws the ball over the middle. Gets a break there.
Sharp one hopper hit right to Donaldson. 2 down. Twins have gotten 1 ball out of the infield. That was Sano's fly ball to left. 2 down, and now Escobar. Escobar hitting .273 from the left side of the plate. He'll hit right-handed where he's hitting .195. Twins were hoping to maybe build off a game that saw them produce 7 runs last night. But in Burley, maybe the worst possible guy to try to make that happen. He's just a very crafty guy. Up the middle. And smothered by Goins, and Escobar has the Twins' first hit. Nice play by Goins.
Boy, was that ever a nice play.
But Escobar legs it out for a 2-out single.
Well, Burley is a very good fielding pitcher. He squares up, and this one just gets by. You can see he tried to do the leg kick, and Goins gets to that ball beyond second base. We saw Escobar make a play like that at Target Field last week.
A little delay. I don't know if there was a concern about Escobar's condition or not. He's ready to go. Jordan Baker was looking into the Twins dugout to see if they wanted to come out and look at Escobar. Here is Dozier. Down and away, ball 1. Burley from the stretch for the first time. Tough to steal on. A really good pickoff move. Outside, 2-0.
No doubt about it. Mark Burley's career, he's had 101 pickoffs. He's 2 shy of the all-time record is held by Andy Pettitte of the Yankees for the most pickups of all time, and he's only allowed 59 stolen bases over his entire career.
100. How many pickoffs?
101. He's 2 shy of the all-time record.
Or to put it another way, that's almost 34 innings. Right?
Yeah, saving yourself some outs.
You get rid of a base runner, and you, instead of getting the outs at home plate, you get them on the bases. Swing and a miss, 2-2.
So many times you see hitters kind of caught between in their swing. They'll get jammed, and they'll hit it off the end of the bat, and it looks like they're out front just a little bit. And that's what Mark Burley's able to do. Just always moving the ball around the zone. Doesn't throw 2 pitches in the same spot twice, it seems like.
Twins need a double.
See the
tied up.
Fox tracks there and what he's doing against Brian Dozier this at bat.
There's a base hit to left. Dozier pokes one through the hole. The Twins with a pair of 2-out hits here in the third. That'll bring Mauer to the plate.
Now first chance for the Twins here. Runner at second base. Even that pitch, Brian Dozier had to go down and away to get it, and he yanked it to left. Now that's the pitch. Yeah, that's the pitch you want to shoot to right, but he was able to pull it.
Mauer drove in a pair of runs with a single. Coming up here with 2 on and 2 out in the third. Popped up center field. Millar started in, now retreats. The Twins get their first 2 base runners and leave them aboard. It's 1-0 Toronto. But not here. They don't have it here.
Probably not really
Toronto.
hungry for pizza right now.
No, I've had it like 3 nights in a row here. What do they call? What's the Pizza Nova is what I've been eating up here. Leadoff man for the Blue Jays in the third is Ben Revere. He'll be followed by Troy Tulowitzki and Josh Donaldson. And Gibson gets ahead, strike 1.
Kyle's doing a good job of getting ahead, strike 1.
And now inside 1-1. Twins took 2 out of 3 from Toronto in late May at Target Field. Twins haven't won many series with the Blue Jays over the years. It has been a very lopsided season series. Going back a long time. Even going back to the point where the Twins had a much better team than Toronto did. Two and 1. Snap bat. Hicks hustling in, and that ball will land and bounce. Revere takes a big turn after a broken bat leadoff single. Back to the top of the order now, and Troy Tulowitzki. Carsoup.com trivia question: which Blue Jays player has the most hits in a single season?
Well, another tough one. There's a whole bunch of candidates.
Decent chance he's in the house tonight, I think. Tulowitzki struck out swinging his first time up. Twins have not beaten the Blue Jays in a season series since 2014, that long ago. They took 2 out of 3 here. They took 2 out of 3 in Minnesota. But then you have to go back to 2005. Seems like just last year.
Just last year the Twins beat them.
Drilled to right field. Hunter with the catch. Revere flying around second, and that first to third speed comes in handy, and the Blue Jays have a threat here. First and third, nobody out.
That might have been the first elevated ball that Kyle Gibson's thrown. You can see it stays up over the middle. Tulowitzki shooting it the other way. That's one thing that Bernansky wants his guys to do. And watch Ben Revere. He sees that it's going to fall, and no doubt in his mind he's going after third base.
Revere, who'd been held hitless in his first few games for the Blue Jays, now has 3 of them in the last 2, and he's going to be a weapon for this Blue Jay team.
That's why they went to get him. If they can get him on the bottom of the lineup and set the table for these guys.
There's Donaldson. He has no power, but he's got speed, game-changing speed. And in his major league career and his professional career, going through the minor leagues, he's a 300 hitter.
Doesn't strike out very often, makes contact.
Taken low, ball 1. And a very entertaining player while with the Twins. Some great catches in the outfield, and one of the more amazing triples I've ever seen in my life.
Well, when you're so fast, you get a little bored. You want to do it something that gets the fans into it. That's what you do. 1-0. Dug out by Suzuki. 2-0. Gibson's got to be careful here because this Toronto team, especially now with Tulowitzki, Donaldson, Bautista, those men coming up, he's got a ticklish situation here, and he's fallen behind Donaldson. He walked Donaldson, who then stole second on the first pitch in the Bautista at bat and scored on the Encarnacion double. Well, he's had a phenomenal series against the Twins here at Rogers Center, and Cal just making sure he doesn't want this guy to be the one to beat him, but you don't want the other guys coming up either.
3-0.
He just doesn't want to give in to Donaldson. He hasn't really given him anything to be tempted with.
Pretty good bet here. I would think Donaldson's green lighted. He's homered once in each of the first 3 games. With 2 men on, already playing with the lead. Rifles it to right field, and it's 2-0.
Josh Donaldson is red hot right now. He's on fire. He's working counts and looking for balls up, and he's able to drive them. He does. What makes great hitters great is when they get a pitch that they can handle, they don't miss it. So many guys will get themselves out, even with balls down the middle, and the great ones don't. They drive it. Right now, he's on fire.
Blue Jays hit the ball in the air in the first inning. Gibson got them to hit it on the ground in the second, but now 3 balls elevated, 3 singles start the 3rd inning. And now Bautista. Four hits, a double and 3 singles against Gibson. Breaking ball on the outside corner. Bautista with a fly to center field, his first time up. Gibson needs a ground ball hit at somebody. Not the fans. Last night, biggest swing of the bat from Bautista with the bases loaded.
That's where the game got out of hand for the Twins right there. That was off Twins rookie pitcher Tyler Duffy.
Gibson working ahead now, 0-2 to Bautista. And that one in the left-handed batter's box. Suzuki exchanges baseballs and brings one out to Gibson. Quick trip to the mound by Suzuki, who's had to dig out a handful of pitches against Gibson here tonight. A walk, 4 hits, 6 batters retired.
I know it sounds so old school to say this, but when you got guys swinging the way the Jays are, if you don't make them uncomfortable, they're going to just absolutely tee off on you. You've got to be able to make them a little uncomfortable some way.
5, 4, 3. Fowler with the tag. Now the Blue Jays are saying Bautista adamant that he was not touched. From up here it looked like he got him, but there is an out at second, and we'll see whether there's evidence to reverse the call made at first base. On the play, Tulowitzki to third.
He's out.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Tagged him right there. Right there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he got him before Bautista got to the bag. Blue Jays won't challenge, so it is a 5-4-3 double play. Exactly what Gibson needed. Already down 2-0, and now Encarnacion got a breaking ball and dumped it down the left field line for an RBI double.
Well, if Kyle Gibson can get out of this inning right now, you got to consider it a kind of a victory, because he was in trouble with 3 straight singles, and to allow them only the 1 run would be a little over.
Deep to left field. Gone, a home run for Encarnacion. And a 1-run inning has turned into a 3-run inning. Jumping all over the first pitch.
Well, they're in their comfort zone. There's no doubt about it.
Whoa. Look at Suzuki's reaction. Turned away in disgust. Encarnacion with 2 extra base hits. An RBI double in the first, and a towering home run in the third. Chipped foul, 1 strike off the bat of Deanna Navarro. Encarnacion with 1 last night, 1 tonight. Breaking ball down and in, 0-2. Watch Kurt Suzuki. Navarro strikes out, but after Encarnacion doubles the Blue Jays lead, it's 4-0.
4-run Blue Jays lead for Mark Burley. He is in his 16th season, and Paul Molitor has a lot of respect for him. He said today it shows that there are a lot of ways to be successful at this level. He compared him to kind of a Jamie Moyer, saying that he knows how to just do what he does. He says he just keeps making adjustments without going away from his game, and that's what's helped him be successful for so long. And as far as an approach that he wants his hitters to take against him tonight, he said really you just have to try to recognize the pitch before you can decide what to do with the ball. He said if you start looking anxious or if you get too pull conscious, he is going to take advantage, and so far he's making quick work tonight, guys.
Thank you, Jamie. Ball driven down the right field line and foul. And 2 strikes now to Hunter. You know, the analogy or the comparison to Jamie Moyer is valid. Burley doesn't know if he wants to pitch next year. His contract is up after this year. But, I mean, my goodness, Jamie Moyer pitched into his 40s. Based on that standard, Burley's got 10 years left.
Well, I personally have encouraged him in the past. He takes good care of himself.
Ooh. Just missed with a fastball.
He's not a max effort guy, so he's been extremely durable. As durable as any pitcher in the game right now over an extended amount of years.
On the ground, Tulowitzki digs it out, fires to first, 1 away. Burley's first year in the big leagues was 2000. Then the Twins contended in 2001. Burley won 16 games. They won their first championship in 2002. Burley won 19 games. He's never won 20, but he's always good, it seems, for 12, 13 wins a year. And in the last 6 years, he's won 13, 13, 13, 13, 12, and 13. There's a ball hit down the right field line, chased by Bautista. That ball lands, and Sano will get a pop fly double. It looked like fan interfered on the first hop, but it looked like Bautista kind of pulled up short. And I don't know that if the fan hadn't interfered that Sano wouldn't have held up at first base, so the Twins get a double. What happened here to Bautista?
Well, I think he didn't get to the ball in time, but I think the ball bounced and was going to bounce into the fans anyway. I think he overran it. And there you go. You see the fan reach over.
Yeah.
He might have been able to catch it. I don't know what would have happened to Sano, but either case, he's on second base right now.
And now Plouffe takes up and away. Well, Twins have 3 hits in the last 5 at bats against Burley, but still haven't broken through on the scoreboard. Plouffe, his first time up, hit a grounder to third. Hooked foul. An ERA of under 4. One brief, well, it was probably a long year, come to think about it, for Burley in the National League with the Miami Marlins in 2012. And he was dealt to Toronto, just what the Twins wanted to hear. A high fly to left field. Revere going back at the wall and gone. A home run for Plouffe, and the Twins are on the board on a pair of extra base hits.
Trevor Plouffe squared one up there, and ball carried over the wall into the bullpen of the Toronto Blue Jays. So the Twins have cut their lead, the Blue Jays lead, in half with the home run right there.
And it's 4-2. Aaron Hicks will bat next.
See what this pitch is off Mark Burley. That one was right there where he was swinging, wasn't it?
That deserved to be hit every bit as much as Gibson's pitch to Encarnacion. Now a ball hit to right center field. Hicks hit it fairly well on a line to Bautista, 2 down. That'll bring up Eddie Rosario. Rosario led off the 3rd inning, bouncing to short. The fan that interfered with the pop fly hit down the right field line is being excused.
Or relocated.
He's got the baseball.
Still got the baseball.
1-0. Fly ball left center field, and Pilar chases that to the gap, calling Revere off. He makes the catch. Twins get a couple back on the top of the fourth. A pop fly double, and Plouffe's 15th home run of the year. And our Coors timeless moment on this date in 1999, Tony Gwynn got a single off of Expos rookie Dan Smith in the first inning, his 3,000th hit. Mr. Padre would finish the night going 4 for 5. He concluded his career with 3,141 hits, 18th on the all-time hit list. Justin Smoke will lead off the fourth for Toronto, and Gibson pitches down and in, ball one.
Yeah, proceeded to go to the Hall of Fame, and like so many of the guys that were there are no longer with us. Great player of my generation, Tony Gwynn.
Check swing and a strike, 1-1. Modeled his swing after Rod Carews and ended up like Carew with a Hall of Fame career. Swing and a foul, 1-2. Smoke, Pilar, Goins in the Toronto fourth. And now 2-2.
Cal needs to get the boys back in the dugout. You just never know what could happen. He spotted the Blue Jays 4 runs, but
and Gibson finally got that inside corner to a left-handed batter. One down.
Third strikeout for Kyle. Right there on the black bottom left quadrant.
One down, and now Pilar with a smash against Gibson's leg. Gibson picked the ball up, threw him out on the inside corner. And now 1-1. Chop foul. Blue Jays with 5 hits, Twins with 4. Each team with a 2-run home run.
We mentioned the other night that Kevin Pillar was a career 300+ hitter in the minor leagues. Got his opportunity a couple years ago with the Jays, and he's kind of had a battle for that position, but has won the center field position under John Gibbons.
Check swing, and it hit him. No, they're calling him out. They're saying he didn't try to get out of the way.
Well, they're saying he swung and that it hit him, but he swung. It's an unusual call right here. John Gibbons not arguing at all.
No.
We'll see what happens.
I didn't think he swung.
Well, the bat, I'm sure, crossed the plate. We'll get a better look at it from this side.
That was a check swing, wasn't it? That's why I thought it was a foul ball. I was trying to figure out why they called him out, but it is a strikeout.
Not sure he swung either, but first base umpire Tim Timmons thought he did.
2 down. Here's Goins. And a strike on the outside corner.
Kyle had a quick second inning, a 1-2-3 inning. He has a chance to duplicate that here in the 4th.
On the outside corner, 1-2. Blue Jays got 4 hits and 3 runs in the 3rd. The big swing, the Encarnacion 2-run home run. Just missed the corner, 2-2. Breaking ball, cutter perhaps, tap foul.
Well, he kept it in. He's keeping it under the hands of Goins. Not much you can do with that except foul it off. Change up, down and away.
And in the dirt again.
And he just rushed there and pulled that ball to his glove side.
5th 3-ball count. Gibson's walked only 1, but it was a costly walk with 1 out in the 1st. He lost Donaldson, who then stole 2nd, eventually scored on Encarnacion's double. Up the baseline, and Mauer fielding it in foul territory.
Joe tried to get to that ball. It stayed fair up until the very last hop, and he tried to get to that ball before it went foul, but just couldn't quite get there in time.
72nd pitch for Gibson, trying to wrap up the 4th inning. Twins had to kind of patch the game together last night after getting just 2 innings. Tyler Duffy. And now Gibson will get a play here, underhanding it to Mauer. And it's a 1-2-3 4th with a pair of strikeouts for Gibson. fans of the game. Fans destined for Cooperstown, Lakeville North. Kurt Suzuki leads off the 5th inning. He'll be followed by Eduardo Escobar and then Brian Dozier.
Suzuki hit the ball hard right at Josh Donaldson, his first plate appearance in the 3rd inning.
And a strike, 1-1. Outside. Blue Jays came into existence in 1977. Hit to left and hit pretty well. Revere going back and makes the catch on the different colored carpeting. 1 down in the 5th. MLS Soccer Sunday continues this week with the New York Derby as the Red Bulls take on New York City FC at 6 p.m. Central on Fox Sports 1, sponsored by Audi. Down in the 5th now, Escobar. Now, your first year in the big leagues was when?
The same year that the Blue Jays came into existence. 1977, yeah.
So, did you come to Toronto that inaugural year?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not. I did not visit the old exhibition stadium till the following year.
Tulowitzki rifles his throw across, 2 down. Escobar quickly retired. That'll bring up Dozier.
Good strong throw there by their shortstop.
This is such a fantastic city. Such a wonderfully ethnically diverse city. It is clean. It's got a. This ballpark's going to look a lot nicer when they put grass in it. But
I agree.
I can understand why you enjoyed playing here for 2 years and why you enjoyed broadcasting here for a year. This is just one of the best cities in North America.
It really is, and so many fans have never crossed the border to visit Toronto.
1-1.
It's different. It's a huge city. It's as big as New York City, in my opinion. And
how did you relate it to New York City? You said something about New York City.
Well, physically it's about the same size as Manhattan. Okay. Most of which is new. A lot of the buildings around Rogers Center have been put up since my playing years here, and it seems like every year there's 20 to 30 new buildings going up, so it still continues to grow.
And Burley clipped the inside corner to get Dozier looking. After the Twins got a couple of runs in the 4th, Burley comes back with a 1-2-3 pitch. to sweep a 4-game series. The Twins go from here to Cleveland, and then eventually the Indians will come to Minnesota at Target Field August 14th through the 16th. Friday night includes Friday night fireworks, music presented by Cool 108, and a special happy hour at Barrio from 4:30 to 5:30. Saturday is a DQ Sensational Saturday. Sunday is Super America Not Whole Kids Day. A lot of fun things happening at the ballpark. Call 800-33-TWINS. Visit twinsbaseball.com to get your tickets today. Ben Revere leading off the 5th. Bunts it. Blue fires and fires it down the line. Overshooting Bauer. Revere to second. He's rounding second. On his way to third, and he makes it. One of the more exciting base runners in the game will get a bunt single and advance to third on a Plouffe throwing error.
This ball typically would be the catcher's ball. It only goes about 12 to 15 feet. But Ben Revere puts a charge into the crowd by his very, very good base running. You see this ball right here, and listen to the crowd.
Looked like he was going to spin out, do another somersault on his way to third base. Infield in now with Tulowitzki. Backhanded by Plouffe. He stares at his former teammate, and Tulowitzki's gone on one pitch. Down.
Trevor Plouffe has to go a long way to field this bunt. Let's watch it one more time. You can see that the ball's, well, upon further review, I think he was the only one. The ball was hit a little higher than I thought, but he might have just been better off to just hold that ball. Revere got a great jump out of the box. He was already down the line almost to the dirt before Trevor released the ball.
And now Donaldson, a walk and a single so far. He's hit now in 24 straight games against the Twins. Just off the outside corner, ball 1. Twins already down by 2, trying to strand Revere at third. Revere now with some dialogue between the Twins dugout and Jordan Baker, the home plate umpire. Maybe the dugout thought that pitch had the corner. 1-0. Missing inside. Revere now with 4 hits in his last 5 at bats. They've all been singles, but his speed makes up for his low slugging percentage. Now 3-0. Bautista on deck.
Kyle got behind Donaldson his last plate appearance and threw him a fastball up that he was able to drive to right field for an RBI single.
And a 4-pitch walk. Now Bautista hit into a double play his last time up. Gibson will try to get another one here in the 5th.
Second walk of the game for Kyle, and they both been to Josh Donaldson, so he's pitched him carefully.
Mauer will hold the runner, of course. Plouffe little bit set back from parallel with third base. The Twins will go for that ground ball double play.
Yeah, they've got Plouffe playing back at third base. This is not a bunting situation by any means with Bautista. They're going to go for the double play.
Over the inside corner.
Both Brian Dozier and Eduardo Escobar are playing halfway at double play depth.
Donaldson stole second when ignored in the first inning.
No, it hasn't been easy for Kyle. He's had 1, 2, 3 innings, but sandwiched in between those innings are the first and the third where he was in trouble a couple times, giving up the 4 runs. Again in trouble here, but can wiggle out of it. Twins are within reach.
Down the line, fair into the corner. Revere will score. Donaldson to third on a double by Bautista. Second and third now, 1 down in a 5-2 ball game.
This pitch is down in the zone, but that's where Jose Bautista really likes the ball. Is down. He sits on a breaking ball, somehow keeps it fair, hitting it solidly. Ben Revere scores for the 5th run.
And now Encarnacion at the plate. He's already got an RBI double and 2-run home run. Twins will intentionally walk him here and hope that they can get Navarro. At least get Navarro and then hopefully get him to hit into a double play. An intentional walk to fill him up. No activity in the Twins bullpen. Now the Blue Jays have a home run and they've gotten production from the middle of their lineup again, but the most damaging Blue Jay hitter here tonight has been Ben Revere. A leadoff single in the 3rd that led to 3 runs. He got a bunt single here and caused Plouffe to hurry his throw, and he ended up standing at 3rd base. And now you look up, there's an RBI double and a chance here in the 5th for the Blue Jays to blow this thing wide open.
The Twins kept Ben Revere kind of quiet in the first couple games, but in the last 2 he has shown why the Jays were interested in him. There's the pitch count for Kyle. 84. It's way up there again.
Navarro with a fly to center, hit it pretty well in the first inning, and then he struck out in the 3rd. Gibson really needs to get this guy and keep this game within reach.
He needs the ground ball.
Down and in, ball 1. Prior to last night's 9-run outburst, the Twins had actually done a decent job holding this Toronto lineup to 4 runs a game through the season series. Strike 1 and 1, but then 9 runs last night, 5 already here tonight, and Gibson still hasn't polished off the 5th inning.
They're seeing baseball's best offense right now. Blue Jays, the way they've been playing here for about a week.
And now inside, 2-1. Well, they were baseball's best offense all year long, and then they got Tulowitzki and Revere.
They got a charge is what they did. They've got rejuvenated, and they have a positive attitude, and that topped off with one of the better offensive teams can really be explosive.
Pass close down the line. Donaldson scores. Bautista coming home. Rosario with a throw that he had to double clutch on. And it's a 2-run single for Deanna Navarro. Now you look up and Gibson's given up 7 runs, all of them earned.
Well, Neil Allen will come out and try to stop the bleeding a little bit, settle Kyle down. There hasn't been anybody throwing in the Twins' pen. They wanted to extend Kyle a little bit more.
This is a Toronto team that is poised, based on what I've seen, to not only get to the postseason, not settle for the wild card. I think with 13 games left with New York, this Toronto team is perfectly situated to take a run at first place in the East.
They're going to make it interesting. Big series coming up in New York. New York has played very well. They've got a good offense themselves, but starting pitching not quite as solid as this. The bullpens, I think, are pretty much equal. Offensively, they're both good.
Down low, ball one, and now the Twins are scurrying in the bullpen over the right field fence, trying to get some people loose. Gibson had a 1-2-3 4th, and yeah, he'd given up 4 runs. But now here in the 5th, a bunt single has opened the door for all sorts of unpleasantness.
Yeah, Ryan O'Rourke again.
Another one driven into the corner. Encarnacion will score. Rosario flipping it to Escobar, and it's a double for Smoke. Still only 1 out in the inning.
4th hit in the inning with 2 walks in between there.
And both Navarro and Smoke going the other way, driving the ball past Plouffe into the left field corner. Here is Pilar. Twins bringing the infield in again. Ball 1. Pilar hit a smash against Gibson's leg in the 2nd. Gibson threw him out at 1st. And then Gibson struck him out swinging in the 4th. It was the check swing, you may remember. Pilar didn't think he went. He was trying to get out of the way of the pitch. 2-0. "92 pitches for Gibson and only 51 strikes. A strike percentage of 55. 5 straight batters have reached, counting the intentional walk. And it just looks like the night is done for Kyle Gibson.
Yeah, the last couple batters, he's elevated the pitches. He's starting to fly open on his glove sides, pulling off a little bit. Starting to misfire.
Pilar steps out of the box with a 3-0 count. He steps back in. Boyer and O'Rourke warming up. There's a strike. Strike 2. 9 hits for Toronto. Gibson's retired only 12 batters. Still 3-2. Tapper to short. Navarro will hold ground, out number 2. Escobar firing to Mauer. 9th man to bat will be Ryan Goins. Goins with a ground ball to Mauer and 1 to Gibson. But Gibson's done for the night, having gone just 4 2/3 innings. Gibson, who had a couple of really good outings against Toronto in Minnesota, really struggled in his outing here, his first in Toronto. He comes off the mound with the Blue Jays comfortably in front.
series for the Twins pitchers, period. The Toronto Blue Jays offense is just really clicking right now. They've got a new hitting coach, Brooke Jacoby, and he's come over and put these guys with some kind of mindset to be explosive offensively. You can see the home runs since the All-Star break. The Blue Jays lead the American League. They're really hitting from top to bottom. You see guys like Navarro and Smoke and Pilar and Goins and Ben Revere all contributing. It's just not their big guys.
You know, when we got here after Sunday's game, a lot of the publicity about the prior series for the Blue Jays was the bench clearing incidents with the Royals, hit batters and players jawing at one another. The real headline was Toronto won 3 of the 4 games against the team with the best record in the American League. To me, that was the headline. And if you do that, that means you're playing good baseball, and they have continued that here through this series.
Can I say something else? It might sound totally off the wall.
Please do.
But sometimes those bench clearing brawls can really bring a team together. It doesn't make sense. It's not what I'm insinuating teams need to do. I think it's actually silly, but I've seen it bring teams together. And whoever was right or wrong or at fault, I don't know. But the Jays seem to have played better since.
No one strikes out, and a bad 5th inning comes to an end.
All Jays so far. Twins fans, don't forget at Twins home games, bring your Circle Me signs, and if you get circled, you may find yourself in the Minnesota Lottery's winner's circle, where you could win $100 worth of lottery scratch-off tickets, courtesy of the Minnesota Lottery.
Well, Mark Burley now enjoying a 6-run lead. Joe Mauer will lead things off.
Yeah, this is just like a workout, like Burley's going to do his side work now. He's got a good cushion. And
I like your description of Burley. He's not a max effort guy, and I made the observation while he's doing his warm-up tosses, he just looks like he's playing catch. I mean, there's nothing strenuous about his delivery. There's nothing overwhelming about his velocity.
He's a master of changing speeds and never missing over the middle. He's got good breaking ball that he can throw on both sides. He can front door and back door breaking balls, and he does the same thing with his fastball. He's always got good movement. He never throws the ball straight, even with his off speed pitches. You know, Mark Burley is, whether you like him or not because he's wearing another uniform, he's been one of the game's best for a long time.
2 Hopper to Smoke, 1 away.
Just a real simple delivery. A small baby step comes set in his hands. His eyes are focused. He squares up. I mean, those are really solid mechanics right there.
Obviously repeatable.
Yeah, and that's for years a guy can do that, not overthrow.
Here's Hunter.
It's what I call pitching. You know, it's not throwing, it's pitching.
Hunter takes up ball 1. It does beg the question, though, if Mark Burley were in college right now, would he even be drafted? You know, and I don't mean that in any way disrespecting Burley at all.
Well, you bring up a very interesting point. How many kids will never get a chance that know how to pitch, know how to miss bats? But we live in a world where velocity is so important.
Lifted to right center. Could be an easy play for Pilar. 2 down. And that'll bring up Sano.
Bautista never saw that ball. Pilar got over there and called it. It's the center fielder's job to catch as many as he can anyway. But
this is unlike any other retractable roof here. The shells revolve around and stack on top of each other in center field, so there is the twilight effect on fly balls, and that might have been what Bautista was dealing with.
Well, the lights are up high too, so sometimes the balls can be in the lights.
And Sano lifts one to about the same spot. And this time Pilar didn't see it, but he made an adjustment in a 1-2-3-6 for Burley. He's retired 8 in a row since the blue home run. Burley, I don't have to put his jacket on. He didn't work up a sweat during the 6th inning. As promised earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong Fan photo of the game. You can tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag North Data Strong Fan for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Well, Ben Revere's been a real pest to the Twins. 2 critical leadoff singles, 1 a bunt in the 5th inning, and then before you knew it, the Blue Jays had batted around and scored 4 more runs. Right center field. Hicks hustling. And 2 bats have been broken. But Revere living the good life here in Toronto. He's got 3 hits and now 5 hits in his last 6 at bats.
I think it got to a point where you got it, no, you take it for Torrey Hunter and Aaron Hicks out there in left field or right center field. The ball just finds a hole in between the 2 guys that are both closing hard. Had one of them backed off, I think the other one could have closed on it. but they both back off at the same time. That ball falls in between.
O'Rourke faces just 2 men. Retires 1 to get the Twins off the field in the 5th. And now Blaine Boyer will pitch next. Three in the 3rd, 4 in the 5th. Now a leadoff single for Ben Revere. Ryan O'Rourke out of the ball game. Blaine Boyer in to face Troy Tulowitzki. Strike on the outside corner. Tulowitzki, a strikeout in the 1st. Singleton scored in the 3rd, and then he bounced out to Plouffe in the 5th. Behind second, and Dozier runs out, and Hicks comes in, and that ball drops. One drops between Hicks and Hunter, the next one between Hicks and Dozier.
There must be something in center field with the lights right now, because Aaron Hicks just did not react to this ball very well. He thought it was going to be Dozier's all the way, and then when Dozier looked at Hicks, Hicks tried to put on the afterburners and couldn't quite get there. So 2 fly ball. I don't know. What do you call them, Dick? How do you call those hits?
Texas League single.
There you go.
Nobody out. And now Donaldson. Just the man you don't want to see with 2 men on. Up and in, ball 1.
Now, what was it about the Texas League that made
You know, I don't know that. That's a good question.
Yeah.
But it's been called the Texas League hit, single, double for as long as I've been alive. There are other names for things like those.
There are other names, but we're going to use that one right now.
And a strike, 1-1. And maybe, I'm not trying to make excuses, maybe we saw a little bit of the issue in the top of this inning when the last 2 fly balls, Bautista lost it. Maybe there is a twilight issue that caused some poor jumps from the outfield in the bottom of the inning. Foul back, 1-2. I know both balls were in the air a long time.
Yeah, but it was the read that the outfielders got. None of them reacted right away, which gives me the indication that they didn't see it right away. And once they saw it, they reacted to the ball.
1-2 to Donaldson. He's walked twice and singled, scored a couple of times. It's been a pretty miserable night for the Twins for the most part. And Donaldson takes a call, 3rd strike. Fastball right down the middle.
Yeah,
and that's one of the odd things. The best luck the Twins have had with Donaldson has been to throw him a fastball down the middle.
Well,
he might take one.
He was sitting breaking ball there. They've thrown him so many breaking balls that he's sitting breaking ball, and a 90+ mile an hour fastball just locks him up. He's frustrated with himself because his game plan didn't work out, but he had a game plan.
Here's Bautista. Off the plate, ball one. Bautista hooked a double down the left field line. Looked like Kyle Gibson might be able to wriggle out of the mess of the 5th inning, but then Bautista doubled. There was an intentional walk, and a couple of hits followed, and before he knew it, the Blue Jays had a 4-run inning. That was intended to cross provincial lines.
Well, it's too big a swing, in all honesty. When you take that big a swing, you've got a slower bat, and that ball got by him before he got the bat through the zone.
One and one. Inside. Fastball fouled back.
They don't get cheated, do they? Those are some healthy swings.
Blue Jays, as we said, with 13 games left with the Yankees. Two and two to Bautista. Popped up right side. Mauer. And now Dozier. Dozier with the catch. And finally, a pop-up's caught for out number 2.
Well, that wasn't easy. Ryan had to go a long way to get that ball. Torrey Hunter was closing in on it also, but I don't think Joe Mauer was going to be able to get back to it. See how high this ball is hit. Dozier had to run a long way to get to it.
2 down, 2 on, and now Encarnacion. An RBI double in the first, a 2-run homer in the third. Twins decided to pass on his plate appearance in the 5th. They intentionally walked him. Then Navarro singled in 2, Smoke singled or doubled in 1.
Another big swing that quite honestly was thrown past him. 94-mile-an-hour fastball away that Blaine Boyer just got back, and they're starting to swing this hard. Their bat speed actually slows down.
1 strike. Drilled to the gap in left center field.
We talk about the carpet. They're sending in.
And the throw to the plate in time to get the out. Tulowitzki sent with the Blue Jays already leading 9-2. The throw was kind of in the middle of no man's land. It was a nice recovery, I believe, by Dozier to throw on the run and throw out Tulowitzki to end the inning.
Jays. Edwin Encarnacion drives in Josh Donaldson. And then Trevor Plouffe gets the Twins on the board. It's the only run scored by the Twins. He drives in Miguel Sano. Bautista hits a double down the left field line. That plates a couple more Blue Jays. And Navarro getting in on the action. Smoke getting in on the action.
Plouffe will lead off against Burley here in the 7th. Takes strike 1. It was a 4-0 game when Plouffe hit the 1-out home run with a man aboard in the 4th. Got the Twins to within 2, but now the Blue Jays leading by 7. Back-to-back games now where the Blue Jays have bludgeoned Twins pitching. Well, last night it was bludgeoning. I'm not sure it was so much here today, but still 9 runs up on the board. The last run probably shouldn't have scored. A couple of pop-ups that were in the air a long time fell for hits, and then there was an RBI double. It's just not been a pleasant night at all for Kyle Gibson, or probably you at home as well. 2-1. 2-2.
Well, the Twins came into this series really kind of thinking that they could hold back the Jays from surpassing them in the wild card, and it's kind of clear that at least at this point the Blue Jays are clearly a stronger team.
Deep to center field, chased by Pilar. 1 down. And that'll bring up Aaron Hicks. And Mark Burley doesn't look a whole lot different than he did 15 years ago.
No, it's the same Mark Burley. He gets ground out, just always ahead in the count. He's working fast, throwing strikes, getting guys to hit the ball and have his defense help him out. He's only got 1 strikeout in the game, and that's it right there. He locked up Brian Dozier on what could have been a ball.
Hicks 0 for 2, lined out to right his last time up, and he takes ball 1. Well, the Twins need to find something, or this promising first 4 months is going to wither away. Twins haven't been at 500 since May 2nd. They've never been swept in a 4-game series by Toronto, and they are just 7 outs, 8 outs away from that now. Twins at one point were 50-40, and unless this game immediately and dramatically turns around, they'll be even at 54-54. 3-1 to Hicks.
Not to dwell on the bad, but they haven't won a series since the All-Star break.
That's hit deep to center field. Pilar going back, and Hicks has a home run, his 6th of the year, and it's 9-3. Hit the ball pretty hard in his 4th inning at bat, caught by Bautista, but this one cleared the center field fence.
Well, that ball, a Mark Burley mistake, and Aaron Hicks does what good hitters do. They don't miss the mistakes, and he hits it very hard.
You know what? I don't know Mark Burley well at all. I'm guessing he'll live with that. He might have had a hard time issuing a walk to Hicks with a big lead like this. He threw it over the plate. Hicks clobbered it. So be it.
He doesn't really respond too much to any adversity. He is steady Eddie. He doesn't get rocked.
Every weeknight, don't miss MLB Whip Around on Fox Sports 1. Highlights, instant analysis, live look-ins from around the league. MLB Whip Around is weeknight 6 p.m. Central on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. But I mean, if you were out there, you had a 7-run lead, and it was 3-1 to the batter.
Throw it over.
You got to throw it over, right?
Yeah. You don't want to walk people.
1-0 to Suzuki. Bouncer to third and a fly to left. Two and 0. And a strike. something that Burley is, I'm sure, tickled about. Got a chance now to pitch in the postseason for the first time since 2008.
He's got a World Series ring with the Chicago White Sox. Big part of that team, along with our former catcher A.J. Przinsky.
16-8 that year. And Suzuki takes a walk with 2 down, and that'll sting with Burley probably a little bit longer than the Hicks home run.
That's his first walk of the game. He's only got 1 strikeout.
Pete Walker, the pitching coach, to the mound. Burley in postseason play 1-1 with an ERA of 5.65. Pitched a 9-inning complete game win in an LCS game. And then in the World Series, not involved in a decision, had an ERA of 4.91. Bo Schultz warming up. You know, and Burley, we mentioned you can count on him for 12, 13 wins a year. Also count on him for 200 innings or more. Now, he's not the workhorse he was, 10 years ago when he was pitching 230, 240. But almost as if by magic every year, he's been just over the 200 inning pitch mark. Since 2001, his first full year, he's pitched to that level. In terms of innings pitched, at least 201 innings in every season. 1-1.
It's crazy that he's pitching for the Toronto Blue Jays. When he was a free agent, he signed a big deal down in Miami, and he moved his family down there thinking that he was going to spend the rest of his career as a Marlin.
Donaldson fires, and that takes care of the Twins in the 7th. They add one on a Hicks home run. Still down by plenty. Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. By Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. And by McDonald's. With $1.69 iced coffees and 69-cent vanilla cones, you can get totes, treats, excited all summer long at McDonald's. 34,847 the paid. Burley is 6 outs away from his 30th win against the Twins, and it doesn't look like he's going to be asked to get to 6 outs. Hicks glides back, makes a nice running catch on Navarro's drive. Brian Dunsing's first pitch hit hard for the first out of the 7th.
I got a handshake from his manager, so his evening's finished. John Gibbons comfortable to take him out with 2 innings to go and 6 runs to work with.
Based on what we've seen here the last night, any thoughts of coming out of retirement? You could rejoin this Toronto rotation and they score 8-9 runs for you every night. Justin Smoke will bat as a right-handed batter. Outside, ball 1.
Well, to finish my story, Mark Burley was a member of the Miami Marlins and thought he was going to end his career right there in Miami. He had a pit bull terrier and moved his family down there. And when they traded him to Toronto, it was kind of a big deal. He wasn't allowed to bring the pit bull into the city of Toronto. So he was a little bit annoyed right from the get-go.
Why?
There's some ordinance right here.
Right?
Yeah. And anyway, you know, it wasn't the greatest welcome for Mark. And I think the last few years he has really embraced the city. And the city has certainly welcomed him. And all of a sudden he appreciates it. So maybe, just maybe, he will be enticed, especially if they go into postseason and beyond, to come back and suit it up again for Toronto. He's a member of.
Pass goes into center field. Smoke with a well.
He's from St. Louis, Missouri, and I know that he told me that he would have interest in going home and playing for the Cardinals. He's had a great career with both the White Sox, World Championship team, and here in Toronto.
Well, that sounds like a great idea to me, for him to go to St. Louis.
Get out of this
American
league.
League. We don't have next year, for the next 2 years, the National League Central and Interleague play. I think that's a wonderful idea. Here's Kevin Pillar. Ball 1. Pillar is 0 for 3. Swing and a miss, 1-1. One and two.
All of a sudden, a couple of the Jays are willing to swing out of the zone. Both those pitches, Brian Dunsing just turned over away and had a good sink on him.
Busted back. 1, and that's all they'll get. Pillar reaches on a fielder's choice. 2 down. Goins the batter. Join us August 16th. A Super America Not Whole Kids Day. Twins taking on the Cleveland Indians. The first 5,000 fans 14 and under get a TC plush presented by Delta Airlines. You can go to twinsbaseball.com/tickets. Get your tickets today. There's Goins. Goins 0 for 3. Swing and a foul. 1 strike. Our Soup.com trivia question. Which Blue Jays player has the most hits in a single season? Might it not be Paul Molitor?
I'm going to say it's Robbie Alomar.
Oh, Vernon Wells. Okay. 215 hits. Missing inside, 1-1. Molitor had 3
211 in the
seasons here in Toronto. He got 211 hits. And Stewart, I think in 2003 is when the Twins acquired Stewart. A mid-season trade. On the outside corner, and it's 1-2. Second game in a row where a big chunk of the game has to be pitched by the bullpen. Just 2 innings for Tyler Duffy in the ballgame last night. Gibson unable to get through 5 tonight. checked his swing. 2-2. Trying to get the third out of the seventh. It looks there won't be a bottom of the ninth. Check to swing again. 3-2. Two gone. Runner at first will take off.
A lot of 3-2 counts against this lineup.
Johnson walks him. First and second. 2 down. Van Revere. 5 hits in his last 6 at bats, including a 3-for-3 night tonight. Today, and he's has great memories of his career with the Twins. Misses friends he made in the Twin Cities.
That's where it all started for him.
Fox Tracks presented by Carrier. Gulf Coast League, his first year of professional ball, he had 325. In Class A ball, the Beloit Snappers, he had 379. Fort Myers, he had 311. New Britain, 305. Was headed, that ball off his foot, was headed towards a 300 big league average, but never quite got there. In his last year with the Twins, he had 294. And then in his 2 years with the Phillies, 2 full years with the Phillies, he had 305 and 306. Really nice pickup by Toronto. Arm that might be better suited to left field than center field.
Well, they needed him to go get some balls. Their outfielders, former Twin.
Valencia?
Danny Valencia, yeah, and Chris Colabello were really kind of sharing left field. So they upgraded by getting Ben Revere at least to go get the balls.
1-2. Pretty good batting average with runners in scoring position for the team. 1-2 to Revere. Ball gets away from Suzuki, and both runners will advance. And now it's 2-2 to Revere. Dunsing's given up a base hit, a walk, and now a wild pitch.
Slider that just gets away from him. Suzuki has gotten a little bit lazy with some of his defensive moves. You don't want to backhand that. You got to get out there and block that ball, keep it in front of you, and that's getting a little lazy there.
2-2. Popped up the Plouffe, and that ends the 7th inning. A scoreless 7th for Brian Dunsing. The Jays still lead it 9-3. series for Twins fans. Unable to score early in the series, and now the Blue Jays opening things up here, threatening to pick up their first ever 4-game sweep over the Twins. Bo Schultz will try to pitch through the 8th inning. He'll face the top of the Twins order: Dozier, Mauer, and Hunter. Strike over the inside corner. Dozier with a single and 3 trips. Fell behind Burley 0-2, and then hooked a pitch into left field for a single. Now off the plate, 1-1. The Blue Jays, like the Twins, a 13-man pitching staff. They have 6 right-handed relievers, counting Schultz. But the difference is their lineup is so strong, they really don't need many bench players. There's nobody in the lineup that you would regularly pinch hit for. Foul back and out of play. 2-2.
And their bench players consist of, tonight, Russell Martin, who's their everyday catcher. Navarro does catch occasionally to give him a break. And former Twin Chris Colabello, who played first base in last night. And then kind of the city's favorite player, Munenori Kawasaki, who I am not sure plays that much anymore, but he's a cheerleader for the boys and makes them laugh every day. There he is right there. He's getting ready.
He was out warming up Burley between innings when Burley was still in the game.
He is some kind of character.
3-2 to Dozier. 2 hopper to short. To Lewitzki. Runs it near the center of the diamond. Throws Dozier out 1 away. And it'll bring up Mauer.
Kawasaki has been with the Blue Jays for a few years now, and got married and has a young kid, and his kid was given citizenship of Canadian, so he says in his broken Japanese, "Me from Japan, my boy Canadian." He's pretty proud of that.
Mauer takes down and in a ball. He's 0 for 3.
He has learned a fair amount of English, and I shouldn't even joke about that because his English is way better than my Japanese, so I give him credit for trying.
2-0. Mauer with a bouncer to second, a fly to center, and a bouncer to first. Two and 1. Twins will go to Cleveland after the game, and unless they come up with a big number here late in the game, they're going to have to try to convince the fans, maybe themselves, that the toothpaste isn't out of the tube here. At 500, they're still very much in contention, but you've got to play better baseball to, bottom out and work your way back up above the 500 mark.
Yeah, it's been a very trying series here in Toronto, and how they respond from this point on is in their own hands. They're the ones that have to do it. The players, the coaches can give them all the lectures and speeches they want and encourage them, but players have to be the ones to make the difference.
Up and away now, 3-2 to Mauer. Schultz not winning any points, running the count full to the first 2 batters here in the 8th.
Quite a contrast from the guy that he replaced, Mark Burley, who was just strike one, strike one, strike one.
It's a foul ball down the left field line, and it'll twist back into the seats. Twins won their first game after the All-Star break in Oakland and were 50-40. They've won 4 games since then. Another 3-2 to Mauer. That's a foul ball. Out of the reach of smoke and down the line, but foul, says first base umpire Tim Timmons. Mike Pelfrey, Irvin Santana, Phil Hughes will go for the Twins in Cleveland against Cody Anderson, Trevor Bauer, and Corey Kluber.
Irvin and Pelfrey.
Full count to Mauer again. 13 pitches shown thrown by Schultz. Bouncer right side. Goins to smoke, 2 down. And now Torrey Hunter. Fox Sports North is proud to partner with Girls on the Run Twin Cities to empower girls to be healthy and confident. Join us for the Girls on the Run Fall 5K Saturday, November 14th at Harriet Island Pavilion. To register, visit foxsportsnorth.com. Click on upcoming events. November 14th, a little late in the year to be running.
It'll be crisp and cool. Should be invigorated. You're not going to usually get too exhausted from that heat and humidity.
Tell you what, I'll do the carbo loading. You do the running.
Well, I should.
Does that sound like a good plan? 1-1. Hunter a day off yesterday, 0 for 3 today. Twins will hope that somebody, and it could be Torrey, will do what Torrey did when the Twins were in Cleveland the first time. He pretty much carried the club through a good series against the Indians. Two and 1. 3-1. Schultz has faced 3 batters. He's had 3-ball count on everybody. Just what John Gibbons wants to see.
Well, he's throwing
with a 6-run lead.
Throwing that 96, 97 mile an hour fastball, but his command is nothing close to what the lefty was tonight.
And Hunter takes a walk. And that'll bring up Sano. Sano popped a ball down the right field line out of the reach of Bautista. Then it bounced near the stands where a fan interfered with it. Sano was given a double. It's not an automatic double, by the way. An umpire could have advanced Sano to third base. Could have held him to a single, which was probably the right call to make in that instance. There's a check swing and a foul. 1 strike. Hit a big home run in last night's game. Hitting at 280. A little bit up. The double being a bloop double nonetheless. His 8th double of the season with the 5 home runs. 26 hits, and half of them have been for extra bases. One and 2. Center field and hit hard, slicing away from Pilar. Leaping catch in center field. Wow. Slicing away from him. He caught up with it to end the inning. Twins down 9-3. They haven't lost this game yet. Trevor May coming into the ball game to pitch to the Blue Jays in the 8th. He'll face Tulowitzki, Donaldson, and Bautista. And there's strike one. Tulowitzki with a couple of hits. Single and a run scored in the 3rd. I think you talked about it when we were on the air here Monday. There was some level of concern. Seems foolish now, but there was some level of concern that the Blue Jays, who had this emotionally charged series with Kansas City, team with the best record in the league, benches clearing, people hit, warnings issued, suspensions being handed out, all of that. And then the big series this weekend in New York, that there might be the potential for a little bit of a letdown here. And now you look, and the Blue Jays are now within 3 outs of completing a 4-game sweep. Tulowitzki swings and misses, strikes out. Take another look at Pilar, still tracking things down in center field, even with a big lead.
This is one of the best catches I've seen all year. Kevin Pilar going all the way to the track, and that's full extension, 100% effort to get to that ball. His body gets abused by taking the dive, but makes the play, saves potential run.
Saving Schultz's bacon. 1 down. Here's Donaldson. Popped up, backing out of play.
Well, back to your point about maybe a letdown, they've kind of responded quite nicely, I would say. I think they're just so charged up about the acquisitions that they were able to do, and then have all those guys contribute. Really can charge up a team, charge up the city.
Well, can you imagine what it's going to be like next weekend when the Yankees come
especially
here?
If they can go into New York and win the series and pick up a game on the Yankees again.
The way the rotation would be set up, Price would pitch the opening game of that series. 1 and 2 to Donaldson. He'll pitch twice against the Yankees. Driven hard to left field and over the reach of Rosario. Donaldson will dig for second. Rosario's throw not in time. And the Twins have kept Donaldson in the park, but he still reached 4 times tonight.
2 hits and 2 walks. 1 RBI. Josh Donaldson just having a whale of a series here in Toronto. It's a high fastball from Trevor May and jumps all over it.
So 1-out double for Donaldson, and now Bautista. High and tight. 95 miles per hour got Bautista's attention.
Well, the ball wasn't even close. The ball was probably middle of the plate up.
One and one. Big swing and a foul, 1 and 2. And called 3rd strike. Bautista knew it. He'll head back.
Trevor May getting his 2nd strikeout on the fastball. Little disqualification right there. Kind of locked up Bautista. See Kurt Suzuki sitting on the outside corner of this fastball from Trevor May, and Trevor painted the corner.
Well, it's interesting. The Blue Jays playing awfully well right now, and 3 and 4 hitters have been around here for a long time. Bautista and Encarnacion. If they do get to the postseason, for each player, it'll be their first playoff game.
Yeah.
Bautista's been around. He first broke in with the Orioles in 2004. Has never played in a postseason game. Encarnacion broke in with the Reds in 2005. He's never been in the postseason.
And there's a lot to be said about the experience of winning.
Burley, ball 1-1.
Burley, of course, has won a world championship. Tulowitzki has played in postseason, I believe. And certainly Josh Donaldson has played in postseason as a member of the A's. So they got some players that have been there, but there's a lot of them that haven't.
For members of the team, not to bring up a wound of yours perhaps, but guys on the '87 Twins, we talked about the value of adding Don Baylor late, somebody who had been a former league MVP, was now just a designated hitter, but had gone through that process before. 1-2. Tapper foul.
I think everybody has to get through it once, right? I mean, how do you say to a guy that's an MVP and never been to the World Series and he ends up helping them win?
Right.
You know, I think there's some merit to it and some that you just got to say, you know what, we have the best players, let's take our chances.
1-2 to Encarnacion. Equally important probably to that '87 bunch was the failure of '84.
Well, I was going to say our '84 Tiger team, we had never had any experience, nobody.
Right.
And yet we had no problem with San Diego in the World Series.
2-2 to Encarnacion. Down the line, foul. And now 18 pitches thrown for May, and the Twins dugout, I'm sure, would like May to clean up this bottom of the 8th inning as soon as he can. Twins will try to hit control, alt, delete tonight and start a new series in Cleveland, and May's become one of their more valuable late inning relievers. They'd like him to not, throw too many pitches here tonight.
Well, Glenn Perkins hasn't gotten up at all in this series, so he's going to be fresh and ready to go, and May probably is the new 8th inning guy.
And at 95, he takes care of the 8th inning, dispatching Encarnacion, a scoreless 8th. Blue Jays have soared past the Twins in the wild card standings, 3 outs away from completing their first ever 4-game sweep over the Twins. And a lot of big numbers put up by the Blue Jays all year long. And up until last night, the Twins had done a decent job holding the lineup in check, but not last night and not tonight either, with 9 more runs in each game. Trevor Plouffe will lead off the 9th. And there is strike 1. Plouffe, Hicks, and Rosario. I've already put all my Canadian currency away.
You didn't spend it all?
I did not spend it all. I spent it down to the coins.
Well, I guess
I got 3 loonies left.
Let your wife know you're going to be ice fishing up there in Ontario. Winter.
It's a foul ball. They've done something unique with their money here. Did you ever get any money?
Yes, I did.
But
yeah,
it's like cellophane money.
It's definitely unique. Yeah,
it's not paper. You can wash it. You can. You can't apparently even rip it. One and 2. And now 2 and 2. Just off the corner. And with the exception of Sano, Schultz has had a 3-ball count with everybody. Backpedaling, Donaldson has a long throw. Dug out at first by Justin Smoak.
Good defensive play by the first baseman. That's a play that Colabello had a tough time with last night. And it's where defense can pick each other up. It's going to be a long, tough throw in the dirt. Smoak was able to pick it. It's the first out of the inning.
1 down, and that'll bring up Hicks. Hit the ball hard a couple of times tonight, including a home run his last time up. On strike. Twins scoring 3 runs against Mark Burley on 2 home runs. Trevor Plouffe with a man aboard, and Hicks with the bases empty in the 7th. Smoak picks it up to Schultz, 2 down. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. 3-game series at Progressive Field. Mike Pelfrey against Cody Anderson. Trevor Bauer against Irvin Santana. Phil Hughes against Corey Kluber. The Indians started the day 5 games behind the Twins in the standings. The bottom 3 teams are stacked up now. Detroit already won. They'll be within a game of the Twins as soon as Schultz gets the last out, if in fact he gets the last out here. Rosario 0 for 3. On the outside corner. Been a long homestand for the Blue Jays. Started with a 2-game series with the Phillies, 4 with the Royals, 4 with the Twins, and it has been a very good homestand. Banks that had gone dormant for many years starting to perk up, not only here in Toronto but across Canada. 0-2. You know what it's like. You were here when things are going well for this baseball team. It is a national love affair.
Well, right now, without the Expos, the Jays are the only show in Canada.
Popped up left field. Revere has a play. And for the first time in Toronto history. The Blue Jays have swept the Twins in a 4-game series. And on to New York for Toronto. Mark Burley beating the Twins for the 30th time in his career. This Toronto team, Anthony, looks very, very good right now. And they may very well be heading to the postseason for the first time since 1993.